So today is Monday, the 19th of April, 2021. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. Welcome to the newspaper review segment here on Pan-African Television. Super excited, as always, to come your way with the morning show. Today, we're going to carry on with our business as usual, and I am going to be touching on a number of issues here. One, U.S. Embassy to withdraw staff as Chad rebels advance, and cost of debt against tax revenue widening. Economy Times reported this one. Parliamentary Select Committee pushes for more government, private sector investment in waste management. Fear grips Ghanaians over rising robbery attacks and creeping state of insecurity. It's one of the stories that I really, truly, genuinely want to talk about. Stakeholders to clamp down on ethical broadcast content. It's never going to happen because even yesterday I was watching one. Yeah. Mr. Justice Akuffo-Henaku is here. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
I trust you're doing well, sir.
I'm okay.
All correct, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Mujib Rahman, good morning.
Good morning, bro.
I trust you're well, sir.
I'm fine. And you?
Oh, we can't complain, no.
Thank God.
Abraham Boafo, Otis AB, good morning.
Good morning.
I trust you're well.
I'm fine.
Fantastic, right. So these are the topics, these are the panelists, and I trust that you may want to also share with us what your thoughts are in respect of the subjects that we have decided to speak to this morning. Kindly do so via our WhatsApp and text number, which is I was going to mention the previous one, but the other one is on the screens. I've not been able to memorize that one, but it's on your screens right now. You can join in the conversation via that platform. We're also streaming live on our Facebook page, which is Pan-African Television. You can share with us your thought there as well. And I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Clubhouse, all the other platforms. Kwame Owusu Danso is my name. Right. U.S. Embassy withdraws staff as Chad rebels advance. Mr. Henaku, let me start with you. I think it's on the back of the elections, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the fact that the people have had enough. 3-decade rule, nothing is happening. They want Debbie out.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good morning to you. Good morning to my co-panelists. And good morning to the cherished viewers of Pan-African Television. Chad is a sad story. Because since Chad gained its independence in 1960, it has never known peace. Of course, there have been small periods of peace under its first president, Tombal Bayi, but post him, there has been always attempts at destabilizing both internally and from externally the state of Chad. Chad is in a strategic part of Africa, Central Africa, straddling the Sahara and bordering Libya, Sudan, Niger, and having Lake Chad as one of the huge water bodies which is in the central part of Africa, and also bordering Nigeria in a way on Lake Chad and Cameroon. And there has been fighting in Chad for a very, very long time. Indeed, we have had some of the worst dictators who have committed some of the worst atrocities in Africa. There was Hissène Habré, if you remember him. He was convicted by the International Court, a criminal court, for atrocities. Although he sought refuge in Senegal for a very long time, but he has now, I believe, been convicted to 30 years or so in prison. Then his deputy, called Debbie, came to power. And they all come to power through armed conflict. And he had been able to sort of maintain himself in power for the past 30 years or so, having one-man elections, etc., and closing the political space. So there has been guerrilla attacks, both from Chad. You remember they were part of the Janjaweed thing in Sudan. And of course, Gaddafi also supported from the north. Although when Gaddafi left, still those northern rebels were there to be fighting against him. The truth of the matter is that the political space there is closed. It's one-man rule. And there are various power centers over there. And so there's always a jostling for power. And unfortunately, when they were jostling for power, unlike us in Ghana, they use the AK-47 to project their desire for power and to fight for it. As for those elections and those kind of things, they were a sham. I mean, let's disregard it. It's not because of the election, but it's because there's one-man rule over a period of 30 years, and there's always been this fight. Because there's also discrimination there. Unfortunately, the southern part of Chad is quite rich. They produce cotton, and the people are black. And when I say black, I mean they are Negroes, like us. And then the northern part are those people in Niger and Mali. How are they called?
The Fulanis.
Not the Fulanis. The Tuaregs.
Oh, okay.
The Tuaregs, light-skinned and Arab people up there. There's a certain dimension of that in the Chad conflict anyway, although those in the south predominate especially. And then there's also a small so-called religious aspect. Those in the south are supposed to be Catholics, and those in the north are supposed to be Muslim, although that is not very predominant. And so it's a myriad of factors. And another warlord will come to power. He will also close the political space. And so it's a sad commentary of an artificial creation by France, the colonial power.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a very...
Because they were not prophets. And they had to left.
That's a very interesting point you raise here, because I know that those influences emanated from France and Britain and things like that. But when the altercation started, they've asked their people to leave.
Yeah. That's always the reality. At the last minute, they always leave.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you have seen the film on the Battle of Saigon.
I have not watched it.
Vietnam, what is called Ho Chi Minh City now.
Okay.
After the Americans had sent troops, their troops had been beaten, killed, and everything, they evacuated their people and left the prostitutes and the interpreters and all those things. It is happening in Afghanistan. The interpreters for the CIA, the Americans, they are now calling the American people to the American state to evacuate them from Afghanistan. Because when Afghanistan falls, they'll be the first casualties. Because they are seen as collaborators of an invading power.
Absolutely.
You understand? So the first thing that these powers do is to look for their own and evacuate them. And if there's a little bit of space, they are their collaborators.
Let me take out with your mind a little bit. You spoke about the longevity of rule, of political rule in Chad, and I'm sure it cuts across most African countries. But would the narrative have been the same if development was brought to the people? Because I know of countries where, yes, their leaders have been in power for some time, but they are trying to accelerate the growth of development within those countries. Yes, this guy came into power in 1990 through coup d'etat, etc. But given your historical, understanding of situation as it pertains in Chad, would the narrative have been different if there was a different style of governance or development brought to the people?
Well, development must always be accompanied by the free will and choice of the people. I mean, development can't be imposed. Development must be accepted by the people and even initiated by the people, because it should be for the people. And if it is going to be that, then it means the people will be involved also. And then development is not simply a collection of hospitals and schools, etc., etc. No. Development is also about governance. And when you close the political space, especially to governance, then your development becomes atrophied.
I'm asking this question on the back of the allegation leveled against the Osadefo, He also tried to close the political space in order to have some control.
The Osajifo
That's why I'm asking you this
the
question.
Osajifo did not close the political space. The Osajifo had elections, and the Osajifo beat his opponents. And his opponents did not understand it, so they resorted to the use of terrorism. When did terrorism start in Ghana here? In 1954, with the formation of the National Liberation Movement, NLM, when they created a vigilante group called the Action Troopers. When Obechebi Lante's party, who wanted independence for Accra, created that's the Gan Shifom of Pay, Gan Land for Gans. He created the Tokyo Joes. When the Tokyo Joes meet you, they'll ask you in Gan. And when you can't speak, they'll ask where you come from. And you say Ashanti, you say this Ashanti Koyo. And they'll use blade to cut you if you are lucky. You understand? In 1958, just after independence, before the elections in 1960, there was an attempted coup d'etat. You understand? So the opposition against Nkrumah actually legislated themselves out of power. And even by 1963, when most of them had run away or had been jailed, quite a significant number of them cross-carpeted to the CPP. Who are some of them? Bawumia's father, Mahumudu Bawumia or whatever, not Mahumudu, I think Mumuni Bawumia. And he was made a minister. He was not the only one. Alhaji Bashir called Swansea. He came from the Muslim Association Party and became Attorney General of this country. You understand? So, although the opposition engaged in terrorism, etc., etc., it was not all of them. Some of them were co-opted into the CPP. It was only in 1964 that a referendum was held for a one-party state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But what precipitated...
What was the purpose of the CPP vehicle? I'm coming. The Varanda boys. It can be equated to...
No, it can't.
Oh.
Let me explain to you. The Varanda boys was a derogatory term which Dankwa and the elite gave to the mass of the people who supported the CPP. The vigilante, don't laugh, the vigilante group which the CPP also formed to oppose the Action Troopers is called the Action Groupers in Ashanti. Because in Ashanti, if you are staying in Dunkirk, Fanti Newtown, Bompata, Asante Newtown, and you were not a member of the NLM, a tribal group created by the Asante court, led by Bafo Sakutu, whose son is the Minister of Agriculture, you'll be killed. So in order for Krobedu Sedems to defend themselves, they also created the Action Groupers. That was a vigilante group. And indeed, one of them, called Chumesi Ankra, who was a propaganda secretary for CPP, had a brawl with a friend who was called Kwabafo, who was a member of the NLM, and he killed him. The court sentenced him to death, and Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah signed his death warrant against his own party member who had engaged in it. That is the qualitative difference between the CPP and Osajifo and your people. So get the history straight.
Okay. Right. I just wanted to draw...
I just wanted to... when it comes to my time, I will respond.
I just wanted to pull that parity. Because in one breath... Hold on. Let me moderate the show. Let me moderate the show. You know, because I was trying to pull parity with the argument about longevity and development.
Yes.
And what also transpired. I thought that even if there's some iota of truth in that allegation, perhaps it is predicated on the exigencies of the time. You know, that it was needed. Because I have spoken to some MPP people.
Yes.
Okay, very liberal MPP people who say, listen, Kwame, let's be very honest. At the time, we had just barely gained independence. You had all these people trying to destabilize the nation for their parochial gains. And so, in his estimation, he believes that even the Ray Akoto and all of those cases that we are studying we are misguided, in trying to appreciate the realities, as it existed at the time. And so, in his estimation, the exigencies of the time demanded for Kwame Nkrumah to do certain things in order for us to cohesively develop this nation. Otherwise, we would have been balkanized and nothing would have happened, in his estimation.
Yeah, but Kwame, the truth of the matter is that the last multi-party election, I think was in 1960. Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown in 1966.
66, yes.
The second election after that was 65, which was one party. So between 60 and 65, that is where you are supposed to be looking at. The Preventive Detention Act was passed in 1958 by an act of parliament and signed by the Queen of England as a security act. Because the Queen of England had also signed such an act against the Irish Republican Army. And who are the Irish Republican Army? They were a liberation group fighting for liberation from a settler minority in Northern Ireland. The Irish are different from the English. The English in 1600s had settled there and were lording over them, and they were fighting against them, just like ANC fought against white settler regime, or ZANU fought against the white settler regime in Rhodesia. Yeah. You understand? So you are going to say that Nkrumah had a one-man rule between 60 and 65. When he was elected in 1960 as president, it was for a 5-year term. And all the laws which were passed were not passed by his fiat. It was passed through parliament. And what was the PDA for? Because I'm telling you that in 1958, an attempted coup had been tried by Aram Ponsa and Captain Awaite of the opposition. From 1960, from 1960, there were a myriad of bomb throw-ins and all those kind of things. And security acts, like the Patriot Act, was also a reaction to the 9/11. Do you just on that basis say that, he had closed the public space? In any case, let's look at longevity in England. For example, Margaret Thatcher, she won 3 elections. She was there for 13 years, the longest any British Prime Minister had. But you see, there was a certain vent. What was that vent? Free and fair election. Yes, she used neoliberal markets and all those kind of things and everything. But that vent was a free and fair. Has there been free and fair elections in Chad? Was there free and fair elections in Houphouët Boigny's Ivory Coast or elsewhere?
In Ghana?
Free and fair elections in Ghana.
At that time,
all the elections, even up to 1960, was being supervised by the white man, the British. Who are your friends? So unless you tell me that the British were stealing for Kwame Nkrumah, then I don't understand what you are talking about.
All right. I just wanted to pull parity. I mean, we're still learning.
yeah.
Chad.
Yeah, Kwame, I think my big man has taken us through the historically what Charles has witnessed over a period of time. But I just want to tackle the aspect of the interest of the West, or when there's turmoil, they try to get away of the country and live. Because it's a Chad, I think, it's a sovereign country by all standards, and they have the right to do what they want to do. But Kwame, these people have their interests. But me, I don't support the idea of always blaming them and try to, at least, just like we are discussing, let's go to the folk base. They believe that we are capable of doing it ourselves. Why is it that we can't at this 21st century be able to manage our own affairs, and then always find ourselves in what Chad is experiencing? The reason is we have given them a cause to believe that without them, a lot of things cannot happen in this country. And that is the impression I'm getting this morning in this very studio. Kwame, you know, you were trying to link or compare longevity to development in terms of the period. And I think that is very, very significant. Other places, when the people see that their needs and aspirations are being met, Kwame, they don't care who is in leadership or how long you are there. I'm saying other countries have experienced that. Even though, to some extent, you might by all means have some degree of opposition, but at least you don't get the support of the total masses in moving to that direction in terms of who care about who is the leadership. I want a very nice bread, and the bread is being provided, and it's affordable. I'm okay. I want affordable houses. They are being provided. So I don't care about who, whether it's Mr. Henaku or Mr. Kwame that is in leadership. After all, what the leaders are supposed to do is happening. Mr. Henaku, it happens in Singapore, it happened in Malaysia. Even in Libya, not until the West now wanted to get Gaddafi out. And I think that was a Horn of Africa, and that was the African Europe. People, our brothers who have been there, some wanted to cross, but they got there and said, no, Libya is Europe. They don't need to cross over. And they are there. And Mr. Look, I think those days people used to even go to Libya and teach, to make money and come. So, and everything was available. And that is where Kwame, Libya, Gaddafi time, they will import cars and even subsidize their cars and give it to the citizens. You go to collect loan with zero interest, even when you are unable to pay, but they still give you more. So in the course of if you have such a leader, what is my basis of questioning how long is it?
But people questioned and aided the white people.
No, but that was the influence. But Kwame, you know the whites will not allow, especially when he's now wanted to chant the path of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in trying to bring the African together. And you know, when the African is united, the consequences on the West, we are aware. And because of that, these people will not sit aloof and allow us to come together, even though at this moment, that is a critical, and we can't do without it. The only way we can get out of where we are as African is to look at certain critical areas, like our military, our economic, finance, and security, and just try to come to. Why is it that even Europe is united? They are united. We have the European Union. America, is it not the United States of America? It's a country, states that have come together to form America. And there's might in numbers. Is it not it? But when we are a single country, small, 30-something population, what is our voice? What can we say, Mr. Henaku? What is the size of our economy? And now even look at what the natural resources we get. Do we determine the price? Do we have control over what goes on in the world market? But when we come together, I think that we can also have a voice as people and get our interests protected. But Kwame, let them evacuate their people if we are unable to put our own houses in order. Mr. Henaku, I just Googled and I was looking at the history of Chad. Even look at how the colonial masters described them. You see the point. Even at a point, they were left into the hands of the colonial soldiers and administrators, and the main architects left because they were not profit. And since then, pre and post-colonial, there has been violence and intermittent conflicts in Chad. So at this stage, even the leaders, can they sit down and say, no, enough is enough? What we need is development. What we need is to improve the quality living of our people. What is power? If the people you are struggling to come and rule, they are dying, you are killing them. So who are you going to preside over? But Henaku, I am worried because I don't know whether it was an element of the colonialism at that time to instill greed in the African leader. I stand for correction. But when I look at what Mobutu did and other people and what is going on in Equatorial Guinea, that the son of the president can be richer than the whole country. Mr. Henaku, you look at the black man and you want to understand why people like Donald Trump will still call us in the 23rd century as a shithole country. Because we have failed our people. Mr. Henaku, we have failed our people.
The elite.
Anyway, Mujib, thank you for this submission. Let me remind viewers that we're still streaming live on our Facebook page, Pan-African Television, and the WhatsApp number is also active. You can share with us. I'm seeing a very interesting headline on the front page of the Ghanaian Observer newspaper. Mujib, thank you very much. Cadres are fighting over control of NDC. It's a very interesting topic. I don't know why my producers did not add this, but I really wanted to understand why the cadres and I don't know whether we are referring to the cadres of the past or the cadres of the present. Because I know that cadres do not exist anymore. These are the fallouts from cadres of the past. They are trying to recruit people anyway. We'll get into all of that. But let me hear from you, AB, on this issue of...
your producer has prepared topics for us to discuss.
No, I can change.
Why are you trespassing?
I can change. I always trespass.
This issue of Chad is just a sad story for Africa. You see, I was trying to read something. This Idris Deby, who took over as a military leader from 90s till now. You see, we are talking about longevity. Even in marketing, when a product is introduced to the market, the product matures, it grows and declines. You may think, well, if you are serving for a long period of time and there's development, the people should be comfortable, the people should be okay. No, that's not the case. You see, the world keeps changing. Approaches to leadership, approaches to development, approaches to issues keep changing. You cannot think because if your one-way direction of doing things should be the best and should be supreme to the other diverse opinion of people who potentially can also do it. When you look at the agitation by some of the peoples of Chad, they think the worth of oil in Chad is being mismanaged by this Deby. This is a clear example of what our African leaders are doing. My good brother here was talking of one country, the son of the president is the richest and is so crazy, it's a fail of the people. Practically, we are seeing the same in Ghana here, where we have so much intellectuals, we have so much intelligent people, but we have our president appointing his own daughter to serve creative art board. Should that be the case? Does it mean that no? You see, richer than the state. It's not different thing. No, but let him learn. A president's son is a citizen of the country. It is still has the right to work. It is still the president's son does not have a right to involve in corruption.
How do you determine? How do you
determine what corruption is? So you bought yourself. We are talking of favoritism and nepotism here. When the president has his own daughter working, Kwame, your own daughter involving in some corruption, it becomes difficult to even expose your daughter to justice. So typically you realize that the people of Chad, I think they are up to something good. And to me, Idris Deby has served his term. 92 to date. What at all do you still need power for? And you see, that's why I always agree with this man, John Tanzania, the late Tanzania, John Magufuli, sorry. You see, he has taken a position not to deal with the whites. These whites, they are betrayers. You realize that they realize some political violence in Chad, so they are quickly withdrawing their people from Chad. Why? These are the people who aid you, massage your natural resources which God has given to you. Then they'll share the largest part of it with you. But when there are issues, they won't stand with you. They'll run and leave you. Now that they are taking their embassy, withdrawing their staffs, are they ready to also go there with Chad people? You should be there and go polluted, but for them they will go and have a preserved life somewhere. So typically, our big man has dealt with the historical part of it. I think African leaders should be tolerant enough. You see, when the people are fed up with you, there's nothing you can do to think you can always impose yourself on them. And to me, there've never been elections in Africa, though there are some instances, but clean, fair elections is a doubt. That is why the last time European Union brought their reports on this just ended 2020 election, claiming there was 95% free and fair voting in Ghana, and I distanced myself from that observation clearly. So going not to talk much about this. To me, I think by the people of Chad should take their time, because this time around, I see political violence as uncivilized thing that should go on. Because if you are practicing democracy and on the other side you still want to fight yourself because of political power, then there is no meaning of democracy in your dispensation there. And I think it will just be unfortunate at this time. Africans should still be struggling with power.
All right.
With each other.
Thank you. You know, the Informer has also reported another story. It appears that we should have discussed this issue. Rawlings resurrects as his caution is re-echoed towards building a resilient NDC for victory. And I presume that this is finding expression in the act of Mr. Gusitano, Mr. Benjamin Kumbuo, in fact, Dr. Benjamin Kumbuo, and Mr. Dana Bodapi. I don't know whether this journey will end in laugh or in tears. So we will have to deal with this issue. There's meat. There's meat. You know, there's meat. There's meat. And when we get to the bone of the issue, we'll get calcium in the bone.
No, but it's very
Mr. Look, are you surprised that this is happening now? I'm not sure you're surprised.
I'm not surprised because it has always been there. There has always been different power centers.
Yes.
Even when Rawlings was alive in the NDC, where Gusitano left in 1990?
Yeah.
Because he was opposed to Mills, the Swedrow Declaration, etc. So those little fights here and there has been there. I think this is a nostalgic trip to memory lane. I doubt whether it is anything serious within the NDC. I believe that it will be crushed. And it is no different from what was happening in Parliament. Because what was happening in Parliament was also a jostling and flexing for power within the NDC.
Exactly.
There were some people who wanted to show that, look, we are tough guys.
You know my problem.
You understand? But unfortunately for them, they use the grassroots threats, what the social dems were talking about, against them. So they have gone into their shell for now. You understand? So there are various power centers within the NDC. And all of them are trying to feel the waters to see what is happening. So in preparation for 2024.
You know, let me be very candid with you. I've never taken any position on this matter before. I don't support the NDC. I'm not a member of the NDC. But it will be suicidal to change Mahama. For any other person. It will be politically suicidal. Mr. Henaku, I'm sure you will be. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. No, I'm saying that. That's why I'm saying that. I'm saying that I have never taken a position. And of course, I mean, we all are students of politics. We are still learning, right? But it will be suicidal for anybody to think that getting Mahama out at this material moment will do any justice or any good to the NDC. Because the party is already collapsing. Their only source of light at this material moment is the existence of Mahama and his involvement in the political process within the NDC. So wanting to get him out will be
Kwame, the truth.
But Kwame, see, that has always.
You see, don't rubbish. You see, that's the problem I have with you guys, especially the NDC.
Kwame, the truth.
Don't rubbish these things.
Kwame,
what do you mean by this amazing?
But it is happening. What is it going to rubbish? It is happening.
Don't mind him. He's rubbishing the thing.
You can't say those.
You have to say it's material.
You know the content of.
Hold on. Do you also know the content of the meeting?
So, I'll deal with it.
Do you know the
I'll deal with it.
But if the political party formation starts like what they are doing, so you don't underplay.
Mr. Henaku, please.
Kwame, I'm not a member of the NDC. I'm a member of the CPP. And normally, their flag bearer will be an opponent, and so I wouldn't hesitate to guess who the best flag bearer for them will be. But all that I know is that the dynamics and struggles within the NDC are just manifestations of contradictions within the NDC. And within a certain period of time, the most organized group within the NDC, the most resourced group within the NDC, will clamp down on the little dissents. You understand? It happened in the MPP, where there was a disagreement, or people thought that others too were potential, adversaries. And so one of them was able to marshal the rest of the party and clamp down on them. And it will happen in a multi-party dispensation, in any political system, even in a one-party state. These dynamics and these contradictions will always manifest. You understand? So what is happening in the NDC, I'm not surprised. But what do the cadres stand for? What are they bringing on board? What are they telling us? That, Rawlings's rule was golden. Then we'll go and examine Rawlings's rule.
But who are
the rule where over 300 factories were sold or were destroyed or were left abandoned. Where there was economic recovery program, where the value of our city was destroyed. Of course, they took it's one cannery and all those kind of things were taken for them. That is why, for me, it was ironic when my young man, my friend here, was talking about Nana Akufo-Addo having appointed the daughter. So we'll talk about Rawlings having given our national asset to the wife. Vegetable oil in Isiama was taken over by Keku Chirama. Why? You understand? Because it was our asset. What's the difference between that one and somebody appointing their daughter to a position in government? It's all patronage. It is all patronage, both of them.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Kwame, I am not.
I see Abraham is in a haste to speak, but
no, but Kwame, but we are just going to be a candidate because I am not a member of the NDC, and I would have normal just be happy what is happening. But if you understand our political system, you need a very strong opposition to always be there to check the ruling party. That is why I always have problem with Mr. Henaku and Co. that they should be fighting hard.
You mean CPP?
Pardon?
You mean the CPP?
No, the CPP. But you see, they should even be more angry on the NDC because now all their elements are the members of the NDC. No, but Kwaku has not been a member of the NPP. No, he has not been a member. No, he's a sympathizer, but not a member of the NPP. You know that. And Kwaku will say it any day, anytime, anywhere. He's not a member of the MPP. But you see, are you sure? Hey, Kwaku will sue you. Don't say things you can't substantiate. Don't say things you can't substantiate. Kwame, this is just a power struggle within. And some of us anticipated this after the demise of the founder of their party, J.J. Rawlings. And it is true and undeniable that Rawlings that time controls some factions of the NDC, which even we were not know, but it became apparent during the Professor Mills reign. And then the Mills aspect and the Mahama too was there. So when Mahama Mills died and then Mahama became the successor by the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, subsequent won election. I think he controls that. But the certain elements who are pro-Rawlings always opposed to the everything that the Mahama side. So, and I think that now it's just a way of announcing their presence. That even though the founder is gone, who they were all rallying behind, but they are still there and they want to also assert themselves and see how they can control the NDC. But these things are normal in any political setting because at any point in time, people who want to fight and jostle over the control of the system and getting things done the way they wanted to do. So to go, I don't have a problem with that. But people I saw there that surprises me were people like Benjamin Kumbu, former defense minister, and I think he served under the Mahama administration.
But he's a very strong rolling supporter.
Okay, and then Hudu Yaya, and then, but I think that, but Kwame, to be sincere with you, the cases still exist because there are still few of them across the length and breadth of this country. Those who were sent to Libya or Cuba for training and all for whatever purposes known to them. But Kwame, in truly, and me, I don't have a problem. They can keep fighting. The more they keep fighting, the more we will assert ourselves and continue to govern. Especially, we have coined our term, break the 8. And we are indeed going to break the 8 in the 2024 election. So, if at this juncture you can try to put yourself together. But Kwame, it is, when they get there, some people who want to talk about the records or the performance of their leader, and that will speak for him. And I think that also as a political actor, hearing what is going around, and I think that it favors because the grassroots seems to be solid behind former President Mahama, but that does not take away the right of maybe some cadres to also try to shake the system and see how things they can reposition themselves. So, but they are testing the waters. But that is also it's a fact that there are certain group of NDC members who oppose to Mama coming again. Right. That is a fact.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. But I mean, the grassroots are the ones who vote, isn't it? That's what you said.
Yeah, pardon?
You said the grassroots.
Kwame.
You know the truth on the
how he won the primaries.
Yeah.
In the primaries that made him to go into the 2020 election, it was landslide. And Kwame, looking at his performance, through me sincerely, before the 2020 elections, if somebody has told me that President Mahama can get that number of votes that he got, I would disagree. And Kwame, you know, me and you, we disagreed on many occasions. And I did indicate to you that it was going to be disastrous for Mahama and he will not come back again. But truly, I've been very fair to candid to myself. I said, wow, this was very, I don't know whether it was magic or something. So I think that alone has put him in a different level above anybody who will want to come up to put himself as the flag bearer of the NDC or the leader of the NDC.
There's nobody.
So I think that. So, and he can have. This is a message he can give to the grassroots people. But I can see my brother is very anxious. He's very anxious. Very angry.
He is uncomfortable.
But that is also the right of them. You can't take it away from them.
I think so.
I mean, look at people like their past former deputy general secretary Kuku Aidu and Co. Now threatening and all this is feeding into what just to make the leader bad.
There's one thing that I like about the MPP.
Yeah.
How they are able to use the PR machinery to get the NDC to act a certain way to their benefit. I don't know if you have observed them for a while.
Kwame, let's go to the topic and leave this one.
I like MPP's PR.
But are you here?
I'm telling you, they determine what should happen in the NDC, and the NDC is not even seeing it. It's so strange. Like, some of us who are not even politically involved with the activities of the NDC or the MPP, we are able to tell that, these people, they are setting the agenda for the NDC and they are falling for it.
Kwame. Because
they want to belong. You know, now, the NDC was a party that, like John Dubelo will say, for the ordinary people, right? Yeah. Now, they have moved from belonging to the masses to wanting to belong to a certain class. So they're trying to create a class system. Most of them are behaving like they are capitalists. So they are even losing their sense of yeah.
Yeah, they have always been.
They've always been, but at least there was a certain smoke screen, right?
To hide.
Yeah, but now it's so axiomatic that it can't even be hidden again, and they are not even seeing it. You know, they are young politicians. You know, those who are supposed to actually be the heart of the party are the ones who are even destroying the party because of their selfish interests. Anyway.
You are going too deep.
I'm going too deep here.
Mujib and his people are always preaching breaking the 8. I don't know what that is. So that
you'll be there.
That one is also.
It will take you like that.
That breaking the 8 something is a clear, act of somnambulism. How do you break it in Ghana?
Come and see.
Kwame, let me.
What about holding to the fact that there will be 8 years and no more? Isn't it the same?
Isn't it the same
like
thing?
thing you are describing?
Let me do this.
You will be there.
Let me do the subject.
You will be shocked.
Let us clear these things clear. You see, we have one NDC, and NDC remains it remains NDC. What is a big deal? Party people, party members, 2-3 people decided to go and meet and discuss themselves. Maybe for all you know, what they have gone to discuss has nothing to do with NDC.
How do you know that?
So how do you also know they have gone to discuss?
Because I know that they were once upon a time.
When they say repositioning the NDC,
What do you mean?
and making it more attractive.
No. Do you know what they went to do?
No.
They went to drink tea.
You see,
They want to drink tea and eat fufu.
see, so you were talking of NDC allowing ourselves for MPP to set up. It is the media that is aiding MPP in whatever session you want to claim here. Party people has got in any case, if they have gone.
Well, hold on. Let me go for this quick commercial break. Stay with us. We shall return shortly. It's getting very interesting. Stay with us.
Every day, he has a drink filled with malt. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt and milk. Every day, he has a drink filled with malt, milk, and cocoa. Every day, he needs the nutritious goodness of Milo. Milo, the energy to go further. This advert is FDA approved. Every day, he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, gets back home, and helps his mom. Phew. That's why every day he needs his cup of Milo filled with the nutritious goodness of malt, milk, and cocoa. Milo, the energy to go further.
From Nestle.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. Apologies for truncating his chain of thought. Let me bring you back on course.
Yeah, so
and tell the viewers, you say that they went there not for the purposes of discussing the NDC. So tell us what they went there for.
Kwame, and your position and my position here, we don't know the content and the agenda of the meeting.
No, we know that the theme.
What was the theme?
Restructuring the NDC.
Fine. If it's our restructuring the NDC. Yesterday, the Sunday, the time they were there, we were also in Ho doing executive retreats. NDC, some selected national executives and regional executives across the country.
Do you know Gusitano?
I know Gusitano very well.
Okay. What is his standing in the NDC?
Gusitano contested the last presidential primaries.
What is his standing beyond the contest?
He is a member of the party in good standing. If he's not a member of the party in good standing, he wouldn't even be allowed to contest elections.
You know the history of the party.
Let's not go there. It's not about Gusitano having personal, emotional issue with people. He is a member of the. If Gusitano today can Alote Jacob contest election in NDC? No, because he's not a member of good. We have our constitution. We have who is a member of good standing. We have who is not a member of good standing.
Is he not part of the founding fathers?
So whether or not
founding members.
So whether or not Gusitano
founding members of the NDC is saying that they want to restructure the party, reorganize. And you're talking about national executive.
No, you see.
Who do you
My comrade.
Yes.
We have gone for elections. We lost the election. We are doing post-election restructuring. What's wrong with that?
Okay.
What's wrong with that? We are doing post-election restructuring. We were in Ho, and the retreat was about that. How we can, liaise with our grassroots to really know why another defeat and the way forward. How we can. There will be that sort of disconnection. There will be that sort of. There won't be gap between leadership and the grassroots and all. So if somebody said they are restructuring the party, it's post-election restructuring. Definitely there will be restructure because we are going to have a new set of executives from the branches to the constituency to the region national. We'll have our flag bearer, and this our flag bearer thing. Every competent member of the NDC of good standing with a financial model President Mahama will not be imposed on the party. There will be due process of law. There will be elections. Everybody who is interested to contest should contest. But personally, I have my personal reservation, my endorsement for President Mahama as a communicator. I know President Mahama will not be a difficult candidate to market. If I'm driving to OT, left and right, I see everywhere President Mahama achievement to make communication easy for me. That is my personal stand. Somebody may also have a different best. But at the end of the day, whether or not President Mahama becomes our flag bearer, who is the flag bearer of the NDC? Is a person we are going to project for Ghanaians to vote for us to form the next government. So, to me, there is no crack in NDC. There is no faction. That sort of Muji's argument trying to let people feel there is some grouping. There is no grouping in NDC. Restructuring is a word that is self-explanatory. After post-election restructuring, definitely even an organization. If you are running the company and the company even these banks, Akuffo-Henaku intentionally collapsed. If these banks want to resurrect, they will definitely do restructuring, right? They will do restructuring. So should you say because of that there is some division? There's no division.
Well, what did you just say? That Akuffo-Henaku intentional.
The NDC is focused. The NDC is focused, and trust me, there is no way MPP. Why will MPP break? You want to break 8 with Dumso? Yo. You want to break 8 with the armed robbery situation that is killing people all over. The insecurity there. You want to break 8 after sending us into a lower income kind of status. There is no way MPP is breaking 8. NDC is focused. NDC is comfortable. There is no disconnect. Since I'm a member of NDC, I've never seen this sort of so-called Rollins group. There is no group. Okay. There is no group in NDC.
Thank you.
We have a single NDC, and the NDC we have is an NDC that is formidable, very, very, very complete. These people, what they have gone there to do, the people you claim they said they are restructuring NDC, assuming they have gone there to plan something about NDC, we were also in Ho as executive or people in position also plan. There's this popular saying it doesn't.
Plenty meat not disposed.
Exactly. Kwame. Then maybe they're taking plans as to how we move forward. We're also taking plans. And at the end of the day, the supreme interest of these people and the so-called group, Mujid and Kwaz, it is NDC.
Okay.
The crack in MPP today is beyond imagination. Do you hear people in Tamale beating by some people claiming they are Baumia supporters and Alan, those things? And we know what is happening in MPP. Our MPP, we know what they are capable of doing. And let me tell you, there is a serious fire looming at MPP. They should see them be laughing at us following these mere media publications and be laughing. This Baumia Alan fight which is going on there is a serious thing. Look at even what is between James and Bwachi Ajako. So you have a lot of very sharp divisions in your party. You don't leave it and think there is wrong with another party.
Kwame,
you understand? Because I know definitely if the Dankwa tradition in MPP imposed Baumia on the party, the Alan and the Kufuor people will relax.
Let me read a portion, perhaps, to address your mind to the rigid position that I've taken in respect of this matter. And this is an unequivocal, even if my position is shaken by a seismic move, it will not change. Addressing the scores of party supporters, the former Defense Health Minister said the future of the NDC is no more the same and has become unpredictable following the complete departure from the values and ideals upon which the party was founded. According to him, the party, given its dwindling electoral fortunes, needs to apply scientific analysis in addressing the current challenges bedeviling it as expected of any progressive political association, warning the party to refrain from mimicking the culture of other political parties, including the MPP. As if I had read this thing, I just said it. But rather, hold on religiously to its own ideals and values. Quote, I do not know whether some of those tools are still relevant today. But what I do know is that you cannot use some other tools to interpret your reality. If you choose to be new and play the game as other political parties, you can never win. They know why they have set up those games. They know the rules of those games better than you. And if you intend to engage them on their terms, there is no way you can ever win. In similar vein, Ambassador Abedakwi bemoaned the neglect of the party structures and grassroots by the current crop of leaders in its activities, indicating that until such trend is reversed, the NDC's chances in future elections cannot be guaranteed. Cannot be guaranteed. Senaku, it appears that I can prophesy, and people will. I have not read this. See, my sentiments have been profoundly expressed in this newspaper.
So what you have? Let me briefly just analyze this. What
Analyze
you
it.
read talks
Analyze
about
it.
just three things:
Analyze it.
scientific, approach, application, and trying to, handle pre-election and post-elections issues. That's one. Two. If there's a gap, trying to bridge the gap between leadership and grassroots. And that was what I said. It was part of the retreat. We even went to do that. See, pre-election and post-elections activity should be scientific. I mean, there should be research to know whether or not we win elections.
Okay.
And there should be research to know why we lost elections.
All right.
This is what we have got.
Thank you.
Second, the gap between leadership and the grassroots should be worked on.
All
and
right.
this is simple.
Okay.
So what he has said doesn't really show anything
Thank you.
different from what the leadership
Mr. Anaku wants to
do.
talk, but let me greet this great man, Honorable Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu, MP for Nalerugu Gambaga constituency. Good morning to you, sir. I know you are doing the watching. Be strong. We're there for you. 24 hours. No shaking. Mr. Anaku, you want to respond to him?
Yeah, I just wanted
Please
to...
do respond to him for me, because
Yeah,
I'm not a panelist on this show, so I can't talk. Please talk for me.
Yeah, what I'd like to say is that in any organization, there should be, or in a party, there should be what we call inner party democracy. That's a principle. People hold different views and express them. But when a decision is taken, everybody falls into line. Yeah. For me, what is intriguing here is that we are being told by my brother that they were holding an executive retreat. When he said executive retreat, it connotes that it was an official party thing. What is beating me is that did what Abu Dhabi and Guzi go and do, was it official party meeting and sanctioned by the party? Thank you. Or it was done on their own frolic. And if
Let him make his point.
it was done on their own frolic,
Abraham.
coming at the time the executive was going for a retreat for the party, wasn't it a bit subversive of it?
Yes.
Because the executive, officially, the party, is doing something for the good of the party. They should have gone to who? To go and express their scientific analysis,
Absolutely.
restructuring, etc.
Absolutely.
They choose another space, talk about it. It does not remain within the confines of the party, but comes out into the public domain. And you want to tell me that both of them are compatible? Well, I can't think much about it.
The good news is that from what Kwame read and what we have also discussed there, it's not conflicting.
What did you discuss there?
That's what I'm talking about. The application of scientific approach in pre and
So why
post
didn't they
elections.
go there to discuss it with you?
So, that's why I agree with you
But you see,
on their position.
But you see, the scientific, I can appreciate why, but the scientific analysis that you're referring to is in respect of conducting subsequent elections and how the party is likely, to be placed in a better position to win those elections, right? So that's a different conversation. This one, they are telling you that you have completely departed from the soul of the party. That which, gave birth to the party. The ideals of your party. And you are behaving as though you were capitalist. And those sentiments are...
Or you are mimicking other parties.
Other political parties. You have moved away.
So they want to bring you
back on track.
Back on track.
Yes.
And you were still in who? Mimicking, according to them.
Yes, mimicking other political parties.
Isn't there a contradiction here?
Yeah.
So, like, mimicking other parties in which sense?
My brother,
let's proceed. You see, we don't have to create an impression as if there is sort of contesting parties within the party. To me, I don't feel that.
No, it's not
because
about,
it's like
about,
there's contesting.
Of course.
Exactly. No, by as you talk of intra-democracy, so they should definitely be contesting views. Yeah. These people have gone somewhere in their personal capacities to go and address certain things they feel is wrong with the party. By that time, they were doing
in what capacity?
In their personal capacity, because what they did was not officially sanctioned by the party. I've not read any communique officially sanctioning that they are meeting by the party. The officially sanctioning meeting by the party was where we went there. We were to our MPs, the general secretary, and the national executive were there. That is official party activity. There was held in their personal capacity. But the good thing is that at the end of the day, it is the betterment of the NDC. Both parties here or both views are looking at.
It can only be the betterment in the betterment of the party if you listen to them.
What
they are saying is actually the truth.
So let's kill off this.
Let him sit there.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are people who have actually sent messages, and they are saying that you people, when MPP mentions break the age, you are laughing.
Yeah.
You will be there, and then break the age, it will happen, and then you come and cry again, go to Supreme Court.
Let him sit there.
Anyway,
because what he is saying that we are all aware of it. If you are pretending not to accept what is going on within your party, maybe by using the media or you are on TV, you don't want to agree, fine. But you know that what has happened is wrong. Under any normal party organization, it doesn't have to happen. When a party national leadership is taking a meeting, like what you said happened in Volta,
you also organize a parallel
any other
meeting.
party doesn't any other program doesn't.
Yeah.
But whatever they have, they should have also been there to contribute their expertise and their minds to whatever that was happening in
you organize a parallel meeting that even counts
in Volta region. But when I saw the flyer, then I knew these people were up to something, and it's obvious.
They were challenging the status quo.
I was expecting even the general secretary to speak today. The general secretary has never said anything about it. But Kwame, largely, I have a problem with that. What is probity and accountability? Mr. Henaku, we've just said it here. Before Rollins ended power, what can he talk of probity and accountability in this country? The corruption, the soul of state assets, and everything to their family cronies. And you are still talking when I heard them saying probity. What is probity and accountability? Even under him what was it? No. How many people were they able to probe in this country?
And MVP man who talk about correction.
I hope you are getting the argument. So they should spare us those principles. So even 19 years of corruption, 19 years of mismanagement, 19 years of bad governance. That has brought this country to where we are today. So sometimes we just want to close our eyes.
So this longevity did not help us.
Especially under Rollins, it has taken Ghana backwards. That is why we are in this quagmire we are.
So
I hope you are getting the argument.
So we are facing and all of this. We have been better because he had 19 years.
Some of his peers had 19 years and they changed the fortunes of his country. But even I don't want to go to where the economic difficulty that we went through, the palm scat and what, economic restructuring and all those, it never worked. It never worked, Kwame. Okay. And you say probity and accountability.
Anyway, let's proceed.
Sometimes
it
is not my style to insult people like that. But sometimes I think that this country, we have tolerated Rollins to a point that I think that he's gone. But I think that this country, what he did and what this country has reciprocated, I think that they have to always thank this country because Kwame, the history is there to guide us. And the 19 years in the life of this country has put us where we are today. Kwame, you go around the country, people cannot have access to potable water. You go around the country, people are sitting under trees to learn. You go around the country, you can't even construct dual carriage rate under 19 good years. It's pretending over the affairs of this country in the name of what? Probity and account. Who have they proved before? Who have accounted to the people? And where this your member, Edward Saleh, the late, join NDC, go to GNTC buildings and one everything, was sold to them, to the cronies and members of the NDC. And you are telling me probity and accountability. Why was his wife in court? It's not because of the soul of national asset to their wives, to his wife.
Mr. One can range.
On that, but on that, defending the president. As a Ghanaian qualified to occupy public office, but Rollins' wife is not a Ghanaian qualified to buy public assets.
Big man, hold on.
You want
to add a few things to what Mujib said?
Well, my difficulty is what that this group purposed to stand for. And if they purport to stand for a so-called Rawlings legacy, then it is not the best. Yes. Because the legacy, we talk about Nkrumah's legacy. We talk about Buzier's legacy. We talk about Champon's legacy. For example, let's take energy.
But Rawlings, at least rural electrification.
Yes, but if somebody had not built the generational power, they told you have been there for you to come and distribute. And when you were distributing, didn't you know that you had to add more to generation? I mean, we were told in 1966 that Akosombo will last us for 20 years. So we didn't need to do anything. In the 70s, we started building the Pond Dam. When the Pond Dam came on stream, I think during Liman's time, we never built any power plant again till 1979, Abuazi. And it was a thermal plant. Is it 1999? Abuazi. And it was a thermal plant. And at that time, we were distributing electricity. We were hailing ourselves, 80% penetration, blah, 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 blah. Didn't we know? Yes. Didn't we know that it will finish and we had to add on? Then the doomsaw came, especially during Kufuor's time. And he went to bring toy generators.
But we gave
you understand?
We added way.
We should have been given to us in 1966.
No, but that history.
We should have
been given to us in 1966.
It never materialized.
We should have been given to work. When you were busily bashing.
No, I should also give credit to where credit due. What happened? It didn't materialize in 1969.
Mujib.
But happened.
It didn't. What materialized was that the political advisor to the National Liberation Council, who was Dr. Kofi Ebrefa-Buziah, advised that it was a prestige project, just like he had gone to the United States Congress when Akosombo was going to be built, to say that the Americans shouldn't allow us to take funds from World Bank to help finance Akosombo because it was prestigious.
The records?
The document is there. The records are there.
I disagree.
We spent a lot of time on this.
I'll send it to you.
I want to read this.
You are talking about credit. UDS is a school that is operating. You don't see the essence of Rawlings 19 years to give credit there.
Although Iteba says,
my own credit for power plant.
Can I read a few messages, please? Nanado and the NPP are on course delivering their campaign message for a better future of our motherland. Ghana will work again. Mickey Bona says, I watch your shows from Ashanti, Bekwai. Isaac Abu Bonsra says, the CVP's movement was called Action Troopers. Was it Action Troopers? Action Troopers. Joseph said, John says, God bless President Akuffo-Henaku for his great leadership style, which is putting Ghana on the world map as the world community have recognized the need to invest in Ghana. Good things are happening. Sami Leviticus powers in Kaswa. And these internal wranglings keep aggravating by each passing day. President Nana Addo has remained focused, poised, and unperturbed seeking for solutions with the ultimate aim of improving the lives of Ghanaians. Let us keep obeying COVID-19 preventive protective protocols and save lives and of ourselves and others. My regards to Honorable Mavis Hawa Kumsin, MP and Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, who has begun her 360 degrees campaign strategy in her constituency and hitting the ground running at her ministry too. Arozo, JM, all the way. Maria Adam, NDC should never underestimate the MPP breaking the 8 years, because if they should again use the military, the EC, the unanimous FC, in 2024 election without the NDC not having any plans towards the 2024 election, then I'm afraid for the NDC. They should stop talking too much and start seriously putting plans in place. If you know what I'm talking about, already the MPP is on the ground. Though. My own friend Samia Upu, together with a few of the other guys, are on the ground. Mujibama line. MT Kuta says, aren't the citizens themselves partners in crime when they remain indifferent and look on while the pillage fester? Hey, Alhaji Baba said you are watching. Good morning to you again. Samuel Answer says, hey, Gusitano again. Nelson Dabo says, only ignorant people talk the way you are. It's like you are not in this country. Nana Afra, and she says, I so agree with you. Well, okay, so I think he responded to the person who said they shouldn't take lightly to MPP saying they will break the 8. Then Kofi Kakari says, they just want to sabotage Mahama, but it will not work. And Joseph Issa Dauda says, good morning to KOD. We the grassroots are saying without JM, they should forget 2020 elections. Salavano says, if these babies with sharp teeth are not controlled, NDC will enter our forgotten history books. They have to learn from the genesis of the party. But we know you're drink. Nana Afra, and she says, what's this MPP guy talking about? See the arrogance and hypocrisy. KOD, tell him to go and read the history again. His forefathers killed the country's dream of development by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah with their coup. He should give us a break. Alhaji Mustafa says, watching you live, Mujib. Alhaji Mustafa says, watching you live from Monrovia, Liberia. Good morning, KOD. Mujib should stop diverting the attention of Ghanaians. We know MPP, they rather destroy the future of this nation. Abena Pokuya Aka says, NDC, if I were you, I will stop this Rawlings principles of probity and accountability. Else you stand to lose votes from floating voters. Did Rawlings account for his 19 years rule in Ghana? He even had the opportunity. He even had a bigger opportunity than Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah to have turned this country into a glorious one. But he couldn't. So spare us with this Rawlings principles bullshit. Else you will lose more votes. Abena Pokuya Aka. Abena Pokuya Aka. Let's come back. Let's discuss a few other issues. Fear grips Ghanaians over rising robbery attacks. Mujib, let me start with you. Topic 4.
Okay. Kwame, it has to do with the security situation in this country. But and I think that so far, so good. The police is on top of their job and they are doing extremely well. But Kwame, you can't rule out the fact that intermittently you don't see or hear this robbery cases in this country, not only in Accra and other parts of the country. I think before the election 2020, it was rampant in the Upper West region. Because of that, the IGP had to take a decision in collaboration with the consultation with the Minister of Interior to send a particular people there, and so far the situation has brought under control. And I think that that is what we should be doing. Kwame, there are more professional and more active commanders in the system. So where Mr. Henaku we found to be a very difficult area, or that has been found to be very notorious in terms of this guy's operations, the robbery or armed robbery operations, a special team has to be deployed there within a particular period of time, and I think that can always save the situation. So it was no surprise for me to be hearing some sections of Ghanaians calling for this guy, what is the name, ACP Kofi Boakye, to be sent to Kaswa Kasua in the central region because of what he has done in the Ashanti region. So you know some time ago, Ashanti region was a no-go area in terms of this robbery activities and killings of innocent people. So when he went there, I think he was with his colleagues and his staff, the police group there were able to some extent bring the situation under control. So that has earned him that respect that some people in this country are giving him. But thumbs up so far, the IGP is doing very well, but we are asking for more. And Kwame, the numbers too is a problem, that if we can have more recruits into the system so that every 100 meter or 200 meter distance, you should be able to spot a police officer, like what is happening in other parts of the country. Kwame, I think that alone will also put fear in our people. But what we have now is not the best. And I can understand because it has to do with our income, whether we'll be able to get money to pay and provide logistics for them. That is a constraint. But Kwame, if like what we have now is the patrol system, they are there, but before the action takes, the response is also something that we need to ask the police to improve upon. A very quick response. When they hear a distress call, you don't need to ask so many questions. Well, what is it? And sometimes we heard some of the police themselves are not fully equipped. They are even afraid to even go to the rescue of the innocent person. But it's not bad, Kwame. But I think that we can do something as a people. The police force can do something. But I am happy some of these things are always being brought onto limelight so that all of us will know, yes, we are doing our best as a nation. The police service is doing their best, but they need to step up and do more, even with the numbers they have and even with the little resources that they have. Right. They can go stretch and protect the life and properties of the people of this country. I think it's very, very significant. Right. And we need that commitment and assurance from them.
Thank you very much. Let me come to you, Abraham.
Yeah, Kwame, thank you. Before I come to the substantive issue, there is something I'm seriously upset. If I don't talk about it, I will not be comfortable.
Go ahead.
You know, we cannot just come and sit here to create an impression as if the 19-year rule of Rawlings was a bad one. No. Kwame, I know Majid is reading law. Reading law. You are a senior in law. We know the inverse effects of suspension or abrogation of a constitution. When one constitution is suspended or abrogated, we know it affects the economy in a whole lot of stuff. Rawlings giving us an unabrogated and unsuspended constitution, stable constitution for almost 27 years and above. I think even if we won't remember Rawlings for anything at all, the stable democracy that gives that the person who tested us that Rawlings should account. The environment that has given her the right to tell this message for you to read, for the entire world to read, is Rawlings' legacy. And that one alone is enough that we should see sense in Rawlings' 19 years of rule. At least there are a lot of things I don't. Our villages, Nkwanta South and other places, we see like it was Rawlings that gave us potable water. A lot of things happen. Even when you are going to the north, Damanku, there is some heavy bridge. It used to be a death trap. It was the initiative of Rawlings himself. Even UDS, look at the graduate UDS is producing. And Akuffo-Henaku for getting to LFA, he has started another 4 years. Can Mujid mention a single university the president constructed? There is a difference between constructing a university and renaming of institutions. So if Rawlings 19 years doesn't make sense, then we don't see the sense in Akuffo-Henaku's 4 years and getting to another 4 years without any single thing to talk about. Okay. This robbery issue is a dangerous thing. We need to look at it as in a very objective and sort of unpolitical manner. You see, the youth of this country should take it from me that the means to survive, you don't think going to take someone's life from the person is the best way to also survive. You can take my life from me to get my properties, but how? Because you didn't suffer for it, it cannot last. And while we are blaming the youth, we need to also look at the political aspect of it. Is it a systemic failure? Is somebody failing somebody? Is the one in leadership failing the youth? That is why they are holding guns on the streets. Because one, the opulent living of our politicians is also another reason why some of the youth will want to do this. Because, you see, Ghana politics, especially MPP, way of handling things. You will see somebody living in a particular area, a pauper, some a very poor person. Within 3-4 years in government in power, the person has risen to a level where you'll be surprised. You see people with unexplained wealth in politics. So the youth get disturbed. Well, if you can also go to politics within this short of period of time, and you tell you also have to think of evil to survive. You see this Nana Akuffo-Addo's fraudulent 1 district 1 factory promise. Assuming they have delivered it, I strongly believe that these cases of robbery thing will come down.
Okay.
Because definitely the Bible says that idle hands finds evil for itself. But if there are no jobs for the youth to do, no, I'm not endorsing armed robbery as an alternative to survive. But definitely if the youth are unengaged, they will definitely find an engagement for themselves. Remember the robbery index came, that was last year, and in the history of this country, it was the highest. President Mahama time, there wasn't robbery to this extent. There was robbery, but not to this higher rate, because you see, President Mahama, who was engaging in capital expansion, when you expanded one capital, you have created 1,000 jobs. You don't need to even promise factories and build factories before you create jobs. Building the rich hospital alone will definitely employ a lot of people. Assuming a graduate sitting at home who is having the mindset of robbery, all of a sudden get an opportunity to work with rich hospital as a staff. That robbery mindset will automatically be out of the person's mind. So you can see clearly that the systemic failure by people in leadership is also the reason why this sort of robbery thing it keeps excruciating on daily basis. But I think it's unfortunate. And the Ghana Police Service too, if it is about retooling, if it's about financing the Ghana Police Service, I think the government should look at it. Because most of the police are complaining of lack of the needed equipment to counter these robberies thing. And they've been always been in the news pleading with government to support them and all that of things. And government need to look at it, because to me, if this country is insecure, if there is insecurity in this country, we have no other person to blame than the President of the Republic, because he owns a duty to protect the people of Ghana against any form of internal and external aggression. So if there are internal aggressions of robbery, those things crippling Ghanaians, the President should be up. He should stand up, because I mean, when you read I think that was chapter 6, the state directive principles. The President owns the Ghanaian people a duty of safety, a duty of protection, and this robbery thing is coming out of probably the mismanagement of the economy. Today, if we have an economy where it has moved from production to tax, I think we're going to talk about the tax. Our economy is highly characterized with taxation. You pay huge taxes, there are no avenues to go and produce, there are no avenues to go and exploit jobs. But you keep spending, you keep surviving. So definitely most of the youth will not think the same. Some will have inverse way of thinking by going to this robbery thing, which I think is unfortunate. So we look at this bizarre incident that happened at Kaswa, where young infants have to go and take the life of their colleague simply because of survival. You see, so the system is failing us, the country is failing us, and leadership must look at certain things. We have presidents appointing so much ministers, putting burden on the public health. Meanwhile, 2-3 ministers' salary and their terms of service, their allowance and things, can even build a cheap compound in a village where if snake bites somebody, you need to move the person to a whole distance before the person will get first aid care. When you build that cheap compound alone, you don't just think of the health need of the people. It is also creating jobs. At least some unemployed nurses in the villages will get job to do. And this sort of unemployment rate going high, which is producing this armed robbery, stealing, pocket picking and things, will definitely come down. That was why, for me, I am of the high belief that when we talk of the person who really developed this country to a modern standard is President Mahama. President Nkrumah didn't even come near. Because infrastructure, capital expansion, the moment you expanded, you focus on capital expansion, you are solving armed robbery problems, you are solving unemployment problems, you are even guaranteeing security to the citizens of the people, because people will work. After all, when you are working, you are surviving, you don't think of going to attack somebody to survive on that person's wealth. So President Akuffo-Henaku and the MPP government should stand up. They should wake up and make sure that they will protect, because that today we are insecure. Kwame, you can't even walk in Accra here when it knocks like 12 at area where there are, we don't see street light. If you joke, something bad will happen.
Even with street lights.
Who street light? See, last time our community one, my birthday was supposed to happen on 14 February, 13 February. My brother, community one, they took my phone, everything from me.
Nicely done.
Nicely done. You can't do anything.
What were you doing at that time?
You cannot ask me that question. Exactly. So
you were sitting with boys.
So when
anyway,
along and you
they monitor you.
Should that be the case? Should that be
maybe you can even
the
phone can even fall without you knowing.
The point is also that you should live in your country knowing that you are protected.
Yeah, it's really important, Kwame.
And the constitution guarantees us that the president,
anyway,
the constitution imposes that duty on the president.
One of my very good friends, he's a business mogul in this country, has sent me a message. And he sends the message actually very early in the morning, 7:42. And he knows that around that time I'm not close to my phone, or I may not be able to even read it. And he's saying that, Charlie, as each day unfolds, I lose faith in this country. He never thought that he would ever find himself in a position where he can say something silly about this country. But right now, he does that without thinking twice. And he's been hearing about road safety, blah, blah, blah. And from 2009, I don't want to get into, but I'm sure when I say it, people will know who the person is. Mm-hmm. But essentially, he tried to engage the security agencies, blah, blah, and all of that. But because he did not pay bribe, because the guy said, I'm not going to pay bribe. I'm from the UK, I'm a Ghanaian, I want to help. They didn't give him the contract.
Yeah, but before I get there,
Of course. Yeah, you have to.
I wanted to make 1 or 2 points.
You actually need to speak to this.
I'll speak to the robbery. We are being told that President Mahama did more for development of infrastructure in this country than President Nkrumah.
Who said that?
He just said it.
It's a personal view.
Yes, I think it's a twisted version.
No, it's fine.
It is a twisted version of history. You understand? Because
everything is a twisted.
Yes, because for the creation of Tamale Secondary School, which I think Mahama attended by Nkrumah, I don't know what would have happened to him. You understand?
It was his right, but
no. He's talking about infrastructure.
Go there. If you want to go into the history of northern education, you run away from this video, Mr. Eneku. Don't go.
Why will I run away?
When we talk of, I'm from the north. And
So,
I've read the history of northern Ghana. Especially how we treated of provision of education.
It is not about you coming. It is not. It is
when people use Kwame to walk a long distance.
It is not about you coming from the north. The north is part of Ghana. Me too. I can tell you, my aunt, Opare, stayed almost all her adult life in Yendi and married there. I have cousins from there.
Yeah, so what is it? So he told you his story what he went through at that time.
Yeah, so don't tell me about you coming from the north.
But it was all right to get don't link into that.
It's part.
No, but
what I'm saying,
I wasn't asking you.
Let's have a decency to talk to you.
Mujib, what I said was that he said Mahama did more for infrastructure than Nkrumah. And I'm telling you that, but for Tamale Secondary School being built during Nkrumah's time, I don't know which secondary school Mahama would have attended. So he didn't build it himself, exactly. But it was the people of this country who built it.
So
did the airport and Ridge? Do you know who built Ridge? It was the Europeans. It was the white man who built Ridge Hospital. So please, you understand? Then you were also saying that we shouldn't say Rawlings didn't do anything. At least he gave us a constitution. People fought for the constitution. Just like people fought for the independence of this country. The British didn't come and hand us over our independence.
We know.
And Rawlings didn't come and hand over a constitution after 11 years. You talk,
he didn't even want to.
you talked about.
He said he didn't want to give it.
You spoke about taxation. Since 1982, production in this country has nosedived. There has been a systematic assault on production and an increase on reselling foreign products since 1982, when your hero Rawlings usurped power. So if we are looking at his legacy, please, let's look at his legacy. Of course, you can look at it positively. He brought a bridge at Damanko. I will also say that plenty of the schools and school buildings and those kind of things, SIF, which I was working for, also brought it there. But that's beside the point. Now let's go to the robbery. I agree with you that the robbery should be linked with lack of economic development and lack of opportunities. It has a direct link, especially if, I don't know whether you have read Dostoevsky, but it has a direct link. Assuming there's more jobs, yes, people coming out of school get jobs and everything, the incidence of robbery will go down. It is not only about about security. It's not only about the police service. It is about a myriad of state institutions which are not properly working. That is accounting for the increase in robbery and accounting for the world outlook that if the shortcut to prosperity is the best thing in this country. And here you can link it from the religion who are preaching miracles. If you preach a miracle, it means you don't have to work
to get money.
Money must come instantaneously through magic or through robbery or through something of that sort. Then they themselves fraudulently engage in the sale of so-called holy water and magic kind of balms and all those kind of things. It is not only them. And so now it has extended to the television stations where you have the African traditional religion people and others, the Muslim, Islamic Malams and others also coming on television and selling, marketing their prowess to heal everything, to solve every problem, problems which are not physical problems, even spiritual problems. They come and tell you on television, they will solve it. And we have laws in this country which is against fraud. You are lawyers. Anything. You can worship your idol or your God, your Christian God or your Muslim God. But as soon as that religion is used for fraudulent means, it's against the law. Absolutely. It's criminal. Exactly. You understand? If a medium is used to purvey criminal activities, to propagandize about how to engage in crime or fraud, like money doubling, it's against the law. So the one who facilitated it, that's the television station, and the one who is saying it, all should be held accountable. We don't need any new laws for that.
I agree.
You understand? And all this is accounting for this robbery. The police, are we investing in the police? Are we holding the police too accountable? Or we just seeing them just as they are? They've been turned into a political police. And you see, of course, I will criticize the MPP. But it is this kind of things and the genesis for it didn't start from today. It started from the kind of economic policies, the social policies that we have. There's a big amount of impunity which goes on in this country. Some people escape being held accountable when they break the law in this very country. Somebody does some grievous thing and you are told, I've been approached several times by family members, by others that, no. They say you come on television. So if you go and see so and so, this our man who your distant cousin or your cousin who has broken the law, they will set him free because they've done it somewhere. It is happening in our country. People really believe they can beat the law. And people actually beat the law.
And the law allows people to beat
them. So there should be law enforcement, no matter who you are. Whether it's white-collar crime, whether it's blue-collar crime, whether it is crime at Kaswa, they should all be treated as such and dealt with as such. We shouldn't close our eyes to mismanagement at the top and then be alarmed and be screaming that some young persons have gone to murder other persons, other boys. The law is the law for everyone. And as we know, since the French Republic, the revolution, they said that the law is equal. All citizens are equal before the law.
Equality before the law, yeah.
So let's enforce the laws that we have. Let our institutions work. Are our institutions working? If our institutions were working, will the electoral commissioner refuse to give account of her stewardship?
Wait.
You get my point. If our institutions were working, before that were told during the appointment committee of parliament would have the parliamentarians, or especially the NDC parliamentarians, are passed or that they were forced to be revealed during their questioning. There's something wrong with our country. I won't blame the people like others blame the people. I will blame the elite. Of course, at certain times, the people will be passive. That has been proven in history time and time again, almost everywhere. The people in the United States were passive until they got up and invaded their legislative assembly. Then people began to sit down. So now they have passed a $1.9 trillion bill in order to do what? In order to pump money into the economy. For people, people are under there to get food to eat, to pay their rent. Because people will not be able to pay their rent. You say it's COVID time, but insurance for health, everything. There are problems in the United States.
Yeah.
And they've realized that, hey, if people have been able to invade the Congress, next time they'll invade the Pentagon and the White House.
Yeah.
So we have to pump money into the system.
Yeah.
To make people work, to ramp up production. What about us?
You don't care.
You understand? We just impose taxes. You understand? So with this robbery case, yes, it brings about a state of insecurity. I wouldn't blame only the police, but I would blame the fact that our institutions of state, our social welfare, there are a whole lot of one-parent households in this country. Men having babies and not caring for their children, etc. It all contributes to this social breakdown. What are we doing about it? What is the Department of Social Welfare doing? Are we holding them to account? Or they are only interested in orphanages where babies are trafficked outside? Look, this robbery thing is the appearance. It is not the substance. We are not going to the substance. We see the appearance as just insecurity. And so we might blame the police. But when you go beyond it, when you get into the substance of it and its essence, you realize that there's a general breakdown in our society. And it concerns law, it concerns order, it concerns our social welfare. Even the district assemblies, are they giving us street lights?
Even the professional integrity, because you see security men here and there involving in crime.
Yeah. You understand? The street lights, are they on? You get my point. And so let's look at it in a holistic manner and try to have it resolved. Robbery didn't start during President Akuffo-Addo's time.
Oh, yeah.
It has been with us for a long time. And it has been spiking up and seemingly quietening down. It has been with us for a long time.
But the point is,
and we need to
it's not about whether it's been around or not. It's about government's attempt to addressing it. I think that's the fundamental issue.
Yes.
Maybe one government is putting in so much work, the other isn't. The economic conditions, the material conditions will
determine it.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that there were robberies during Mohammed's time, there were robberies and there were serious robberies. And I'm saying that there have been robberies all along for a long time because of economic reasons, because of the material conditions of the people. Why have we allowed Kaswa to develop in the way it has developed?
As for Kaswa, we have sat down.
You understand?
Like a den.
Look, Nima, when they made the roads through and all those kind of things, it's easy for police to move there to go and catch any criminal. Yeah. Why have we allowed Ashaman to conglomerate? And do you know what has happened to Ashaman? Ashaman was supposed to be the breadbasket of Tema. So it had irrigation projects and everything. All those irrigation projects have been stopped. The places have been filled, the land sold, and buildings have come up.
Oh dear.
So how can we produce food for the workers?
I think we have a problem in this country. Like we have a serious issue.
Indeed. So we allowed Kaswa to grow up, and we saw.
And we are watching it.
We are watching, and it is now exploding, and we are complaining. It is exploding, and we are now complaining. It is the same which will happen in various areas in our country. Like we have watched for Galamsey to come up. You understand? Then it becomes unbearable. Then we start screaming small. Then we keep quiet. Hey, we need a systematic understanding of what is happening in our country and a holistic approach to resolving it.
Henaku, beautiful submission. Unfortunately, I have to run away. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Mujib, I know you have to run too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Abraham Boa, for the first time seeing you, first time having you on the show. Thank you very much for your time. Uti region is proud of you.
I'm also proud of you.
Uti region is proud of you.
Thank you.
And we'll support you all the way.
Thank you.
I think my lens is very dirty. They didn't clean my lens this morning. It's very dirty. It looks dirty when I'm watching it on social media. But thank you very much for watching today's edition of Good Morning Africa. My name is Kwame Owusu Danso. Do have a very wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Every day he looks after his brother and chases a bus. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, and learns new things. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus, learns new things, and gets back home. Every day he looks after his brother, chases a bus.
Truly African.